Hello
Hello
there.
there. Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars in the Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
And today we are doing the season 21 finale of Star Wars in the Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on, with our retrospective of season 1 of Star Wars Rebels. We have our usual format for this episode. So, Jacob, do you have anything else to say, or do you want to just get to it?
Let's kick it off, starting with our overall thoughts, I believe.
Go right ahead with your overall thoughts.
I think this is, not only is this a very solid start for Rebels, for this show, I think this is an extremely underrated season. After the rewatch, I think that this is often framed as a season where we're like, oh yeah, it's a little bit, the show's in its infancy, it's finding its legs, but it really sets up for some really, really good stuff in season 2, but really season 3 and 4. That's often how people talk about it, and yet obviously this show does mature and change to a great degree, and this is the show finding its footing a little bit, but there's so much more depth and development here than I remember, especially for Ezra. This show really is this season really is a main event in its own right, and I think it deserves to be talked about and remembered a little bit more. It is short, and it does have some of the, it has some of the sillier, lighter episodes where they're, a little bit on the fillery side of maybe, not being quite as serialized or quite as, tied into the overall story. And yet there's sometimes they are just kind of running around doing stuff, and yet this season packs so much substance and so much emotional heft and so much character development into the episodes that when it's on point, this season is just so damn good. I think about 2/3 of the episodes, I just was like, wow, this season is better than I remember. That's if there's one phrase I would use to describe it, it's that, better than I remember.
Star Wars Rebels Season 1 is a great introduction to the world of the show. I'm reading right from my notes. Star Wars Rebels Season 1 is a great introduction to the world of the show. It introduces and develops the characters, settings, conflicts, and themes in a meticulous fashion. While it leaves a few characters, Sabine Wren, Alexander Callis, and Chopper come to mind, with comparatively little to go off of, and it mostly sticks to conflicts on the planet of Lothal. This is made up for by the facts, admittedly, with hindsight, that I know all three of those aforementioned characters are developed in future seasons, and that the locality of Lothal is a deliberate choice to focus on a lot of the world building there, and so that the galaxy expansion in the future seasons feels more exciting. With the exception of an episode or two, idiots array much. Every episode is important to the overarching story, while still standing alone effectively enough, except for the middle two and final three, which kind of have to be viewed as arcs. Let me emphasize, however, that the highs of this season are really damn high. Whenever the Force is involved, especially, this series fucking soars. I love season 1 of Rebels, and I still think it's the weakest season of the show, which is saying something.
It really
is. I'm so excited for more.
Very well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with everything you said. I think, when the Force and really in the later seasons we get into really the kind of the esoteric Force mysticism, but even now it's just it's beautiful.
Even though I love the Force
have these moments with
stuff in successive seasons, I actually think the non-Force stuff gets better in successive seasons. I think that's where the season. I think the Force stuff gets better, but I think really the biggest improvement in even season 2 from season 1 is the non-Force stuff. It's the regular Rebel, like the stuff relating to all the non-canon and Ezra characters. I think really kicks up a notch even in just season 2. But that's just me.
I might be inclined to agree with you. Yeah.
Let's do our rankings from 14 to 1. Jacob, can you tell me your ranking?
At number 14, I have Out of Darkness. Number 13 is Idiot's Array. Number 12, I have Fight or Flight. Number 11, I have Droids in Distress. At number 10, I have Breaking Ranks. Number 9, I have Vision of Hope. Number 8, I have Empire Day. Number 7 is Path of the Jedi. Number 6, I have Spark of Rebellion. Number 5, I have Rebel Resolve. Number 4, I have Rise of the Old Masters. Number 3, I have Gathering Forces. At number 2, I have Call to Action. And at number 1, I have Fire Across the Galaxy.
All right, give me a second. Sorry. All right. My list. Number 14, Idiot's Array. Number 13, Out of Darkness. Number 12, Vision of Hope. Number 11, Fight or Flight. Number 10, Breaking Ranks. Number 9, Droids in Distress. Number 8, Gathering Forces. Number 7, Rebel Resolve. Number 6, Empire Day. Number 5, Spark of Rebellion. Number 4, Rise of the Old Masters. Number 3, Call to Action. Number 2, Path of the Jedi. And number 1, Fire Across the Galaxy. All right, here's where we usually discuss our discrepancies between our lists. And I already have 2 that I'm noticing I'm noticing quite a bit. Let's talk about Path of the Jedi and Gathering Forces. Fittingly, each of us has one of them high and one of them lower. So let's talk about Gathering Forces first. I have it at 8, you have it at 3. What is it about Gathering Forces that makes it that high for you?
I mean, I think for one thing, I'm already sort of not wishing, but I'm already wondering if I should have put this lower when I'm looking at some of the episodes directly below it. With that being said, I think this is really just riding on Ezra's entire experience in the cave with the Fernox, confronting his own demons and really in that moment breaking through with Kanan's help, and then confronting the darkness and sort of having that moment when he goes over the precipice, and digs into his anger and his rage and experiences the dark side for the first time. It's for me, it's really riding on, how meaningful and also well executed this experience is as a formative moment for Ezra. I think that's why I have this one so high. I suspect if I were to re-rank this again, maybe rewatch them again, I think it would probably maybe fall closer to 5 or 6, but I really do love this episode, and it's definitely in the mix for sure. I might be overrating it a little bit because of that sort of a couple of its, defining moments and themes. But I will stand by this ranking for now. Yeah, I think it is definitely in the mix for top 3, top 5 this season. Why do you have it at number 8 then? I should ask.
Yeah, so for me, I think it is I don't know. I think that the Empire Day Gathering Forces combo is pretty strong. I slightly prefer Empire Day because I like to see the world building of the pageantry of Empire Day and how the Empire celebrates that a little bit more than
cool.
The very reactionary Gathering Forces, which is still good. I don't have a problem with it. There's just stuff I like better. It and Rebel Resolve at number 7 are virtually tied. So you could really switch the 2 of them. But yeah, no, there's other stuff I like more, honestly. But it's nothing about it is bad. Let's talk now about Path of the Jedi, which is the opposite situation. You have it at number 7. I have it at number 2, second only to Fire Across the Galaxy.
You want to go first? Yeah. It's real high for you.
I was thinking you'd go first.
I feel like it makes more sense to have you talk about why it's high, because I feel like this is not something where I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just more so where it falls among the other ones. But I'd love to hear what you have to say first, I think.
Yeah, this episode is so extremely my shit. This episode is so this is we did a Young Jedi Adventures episode that was very similar to this. I don't know if you remember that. That was like a carbon copy of this episode, and I love that too. A Jedi facing their own fears, the mystical stuff of a Jedi temple like that. Getting Yoda back, Frank Oz Yoda back. I'm always going to be a sucker for that. The way the Grand Inquisitor is used as Ezra's worth fears is great. The getting of the kyber crystals, the making of the lightsaber. is all so incredibly my shit. Plus, I think it's just all executed extremely well. Charles Murray writes the hell out of it. Dave Filoni directs the hell out of it. Yeah, I love this episode, and that's the reason why it's second only to Fire on my ranking.
I think, yeah, I agree with what you say. Like, this is a great episode. This is a phenomenal episode. There's just other episodes that I enjoy more. That really is what it comes down to. I think it does a great job of putting Ezra in those situations, and we see him face some really, really incredibly difficult and scary things, and he comes out a better Jedi for it, more reassured, more confident in himself and his sort of ability to navigate what lies ahead and the things that he's dealing with against the Empire and emotionally within himself. And I think that this is really an inflection. This episode is definitely an inflection point for him, and that should not be overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty much opposite stuff for us with Gathering Forces. Like the same reasons for Gathering Forces with me and Path of the Jedi with you, which makes sense. It's just about preference. Best episode, we both have the same thing. So Fire Across the Galaxy, I said, has it all. It uses every moment it is granted to tell a beautiful end to the season. It wraps up this season's arcs for Ezra and Kanan extraordinarily well, and additionally gives a little bit more depth to the Grand Inquisitor before it ceremoniously and rewardingly kills him off. Add to that some excellent expansion of the world of the show and teases for more, and you've got an A+ episode of Star Wars television.
I completely agree. It's a supremely cathartic and satisfying ending. It's thrilling. It has you on the edge of your seat from start to finish, and then obviously, kind of in at the very end, the denouement, getting to see Bail and getting to see Ahsoka and sort of having those hints at what's coming in season 2 is just, it just supercharges the ending and leaves you so excited for what's to come next. And that duel between Kanan and the Grand Inquisitor is just a defining moment.
This has never not been my favorite episode of the season, and I'm pretty sure it's a top 10 episode of the show for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Worst episode. Let's have you go first for this one.
Okay. So we have the opposite.
Second to last and last.
Yeah, I have Idiots Array at 13th. You have it at 14th. You have Out of Darkness at 13th. I have it at 14th. I think Out of Darkness, maybe I should have put Idiots Array below this now because at least Out of Darkness, it does have, to its credit, it's not all bad. We do get Hera and Sabine kind of working out a little bit of their difficulties, and this is sort of the one episode we get some insight into Sabine as a character, and we get some time to focus on her in this sort of very short and sweet season 1, and we come back to that a lot more in season 2 and really season 3 and 4 especially. With that being said, the entire setup of this episode, the Fernox, the cave, like it's a cool idea. It's not the worst, but it kind of just feels like they're playing Plants vs. Zombies in Star Wars. Like they spend so long on just like, oh my gosh, another wave of the creatures is coming. We got to get ready. And then it is one of those episodes where you're just like, I know it's a 22-minute episode. I know these are not long episodes, but really, how did that little happen, in an episode? So it's not bad. It just, it lacks the substance to really justify its existence in a short season.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, it's definitely a character development episode first, and the Fernox gimmick I think can only hold up for so long. Although, of course, when it comes back and Gathering Forces with Ezra and Kanan calling them after the Grand Inquisitor, it's awesome.
Yeah, then it's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. Idiots Array, I wrote, doesn't do it for me as many of the other episodes of this season do. It's not even bad, but its plot is honestly forgettable, and it's just a bit gimmicky. Don't get me wrong, the return of the great Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian is incredible and easily the highlight of this episode. But everything surrounding him and his everything, everything other than him and his interactions with the Ghost crew. I've been typo there, but everything other than the stuff surrounding him and his interactions with the Ghost crew just doesn't interest me as much. The stuff with his Morrigan and the puffer pigs, it's just like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Let's get on to the next thing. Best character, Jacob, go ahead.
I will say about Idiot's Array, I think this is the one episode where I truly think, why does this matter to the rest of the show? What do we gain? I don't think we, unless I'm mistaken, this is the one episode that contributes nothing to the overall.
We see Lando again,
arc of the show,
and we see his Morrigan again, and we see
in future seasons. Yes. I guess for this season at least, what I'm trying to say, just like, why does it exist? I don't know. That being said, I do think the one thing that puts it above Out of Darkness to me is the dialogue and the writing is pretty consistently funny. Like watching Zeb and Ezra and Kanan kind of just like fume and gnash their teeth as you know, Lando kind of just slick talks and smooth talks his way around the Ghost and in and out of trouble. It's entertaining, even if it's not really important. Anyways, best and worst characters. I always have trouble with my criteria for this one, for best characters, since I love so many characters and I don't just want to name the obvious choices. But for me on this rewatch, I think Ezra stood out to me the most. I think as a character, he showed so much more depth and complexity and development than I remembered or appreciated from my previous watches of the show. Within this season, I think we see him grow and mature so much with such, you know, detail, emotional attention to detail, clarity, granularity, that it really is like little else in Star Wars. Also, the Inquisitor, his presence as a villain, a foil for Kanan in particular, embodying his fears and traumas. I'm genuinely sad that he dies at the end of season 1, even though it's a good and suitable ending for him in this show. As a villain, he is just so much fun to watch. So those are my picks.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, yeah. Best character, I've been not so subtly hinting at this throughout the season, but despite other characters getting better arcs, it's Hera Syndulla for me. She's just a genuinely great character, and I shuddered to think where the Ghost crew would be without her. She's the kind of leader that a rebel cell needs, and although she has her own flaws and human imperfections, or Twi'lek imperfections, she's still a near perfect glue that holds this crew together. I love her character so much. I love Space Mom. I love her in future seasons. I love her in Ahsoka. She's a fantastic character in this season. This reminded me of how much I love that character. In a recent episode of Ionized Bastards, General Syndulla assisted the Bastards on an attack on the Gundark's nest, and I was so incredibly excited to see her and Chopper show up at the fray to attack that son of a bitch salvage. Worst character?
Oh, worst character. I can't think of one, to be honest. I think everyone really does play their part. You know, I think Oresco and Grint are a little bit of, you know, they're a couple of characters, let's be honest. But even they kind of, maybe Lando in this season, he feels like a little bit of a shell of what we know this character to actually be and what he can be. And I think his episode didn't really change him or the crew very much at all. And it doesn't really contribute to this season. So I would say Lando, because I'm just sitting here going, yay, it's Lando. Why though? You know, I don't know if they really, I don't know if the show really did him justice with this appearance.
Wait, what did you say?
I don't know if the show really did him justice with this appearance.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's just how I feel.
Anyway, Galt Travis is an op. Galt Travis is an op, and I have negative respect for that. Fuck that guy. Fuck all he did to Mira and Ephraim. fuck Galt Travis. All my homies hate Galt Travis. I also just kind of like, once he reveals his true nature, I find him incredibly annoying. And frankly, I didn't really love him that much, even when I thought he was a good guy. So, yeah, Galt Travis is an op.
Yeah, it wasn't incredibly like convincing.
No,
As
either.
the audience, yeah.
Coolest thing you noticed from the rewatch?
I think once again I have to go with the way that Ezra matures throughout the show. I think, obviously we know that it happens, but I think on the rewatch I really realized how well that's really put into almost every single episode. And just the little ways, the little moments when he uses the Force, when he offers some advice, has some intuition, knows when to step up and be a leader, after kind of like, yeah, it's got to be Ezra for me.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's just how damn efficient this storytelling is. The writers, Henry Gilroy, Kevin Hopps, Simon Kinberg, and Charles Murray, excelled at conveying character arcs and beats in an understandable yet incredibly impactful manner, while still making the episodes fun and exciting. As the season is half the length of its two successors, it needed to be a bit more compact in its storytelling, but they managed to make it a compelling and complete story. The way, this started all the way back in Spark of Rebellion, where they managed to introduce 6 characters to us, plus, of course, Callus as a villain in quick succession and make it look easy. That's not an easy thing to do. That takes a lot of finesse and a lot of craft, and the writers really displayed that there, and I applaud them heavily for that. Yeah, what was I gonna say? And finally, we have favorite planet, right?
Favorite planet. I mean, pretty much the only planet in this season, Lothal.
I mean, not the only one, but like, again, we go
Pretty
to
much,
Naxxes and we go to Gorel, but yeah, Lothal, the world building in its various cities and towns, as well as its wilderness, is near unparalleled in Star Wars animation up to this point. Castellan and Resistance will eventually give it a run for its money, and honestly, I think probably exceed it, but it's still impressive.
Yeah, I really noticed this time around all the ways in which the show is really informed by how grounded Ezra is on Lothal and the communities that he's a part of, and the ways in which, really the entire crew, really the ways in which that informs who they are and why they're fighting the Empire. That's something that really came through really clearly for me this time around, which I appreciated.
Hell yeah. I think that's going to be it for the retrospective part, but of course there's a second part of the retrospective episodes that we always do, which is what's coming next for Star Wars in the Galaxy. After this episode, we will be taking a week hiatus, but then we will be back immediately after the next week with the episode 176 of Star Wars in the Galaxy, starting season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, with the Siege of Lothal. Guests will be joining us throughout the season. We have some other ones in mind. Yeah, for anything else to announce, I only have one other thing to announce, which is going to happen near the end of July, which is our next bracket stream. Again, I might edit this later if I need to, but for our next bracket stream will be happening on July 26th. Mark it in your calendars. July 26th, we will be going live to do our final one of these bracket streams that we've been doing for a long time. We did Jedi, we did Best of the Jedi, we did Best of the Sith, we did Best of the Bounty Hunters. Now we're doing Best of the Rest. All of the Star Wars characters who couldn't make it into one of the first 3. And we have some banger guests from Stardust Records. Savvy and Linz, who we had on for Jedi Survivor, will be joining us yet again. We have the legendary Alex Damon of Star Wars Explained joining us. And finally, of the Imperial Senate podcast, we have, I still have to ask him about this, but I'm sure he loves to do it. We have Nikki Kumar. So join Jacob, myself, Alex, Nikki, Savvy, and Linz, where we debate the best of the rest in our final bracket stream this round. The winner of that, along with the two of us and Jared and Tori Fox and who won who won the bounty hunter bracket? Honestly, I don't know at this point. I don't remember at this point who won that bounty hunter bracket. I think that was J-Dub, but I'm not sure. Anyway, and the winner of that bounty hunter bracket, who I don't remember despite that being like a few months ago, will join us for a best of Star Wars characters. Oh, Claire won. Okay, so Tori, Jared, Claire, and whoever wins this next one will join us for a best of Star Wars characters ultimate bracket sometime in the fall. I think that's going to be it for this episode of Star Wars and Galaxy. We will be off next week, but the week after, Siege of Lothal.
Yeah.
Sock. In the meantime, you can follow us everywhere, but mostly on BlueSky at inagalaxypod.bsky.social. You can listen to us everywhere. You can follow me at my linktree, linktr.ee/_OGFan327. Epic Confrontations by this point, Goose versus Andy should be out, and we may be announcing more Epic Confrontations matches to come soon, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to this season of Star Wars and Galaxy. I know we've had a lot of fun doing Star Wars Rebels Season 1, and we look forward to continuing on with Season 2, where the galaxy will get bigger and the Rebels will face new threats, including one very scary Sith Lord, which I'm very excited for. And I think if there's nothing else, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.